splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. The Warner Hospital and Health Services fiscal year 2027 budget was recently approved by the Clinton City Council, which is set to take effect on May 1st. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, CEO Paul Skowron told the Heart Media Group that while the hospital is facing new legislative pressures and rising insurance expenses, the final budget maintains a positive bottom line.
The budget was approved at the City Council meeting on Tuesday, April 21st. Our fiscal year starts May 1 till April 30, and that is why the budget gets approved in April.
Okay.
So I presented a budget that has a positive bottom line, but there are pressures that we haven't had in the past with legislative changes, less increases in insurance revenue, but expenses don't go down. So there are those challenges. However, we have presented and were approved with a budget that has a positive bottom line. Something different about the capital budget this year that I did point out to the City Council is, in the past I talked about a big IT expense, that Meditech Expanse conversion, which a lot of people don't associate with, but it's, it has been installed and it was successfully went live on November 1, and then all the bugs getting worked out over the next 5 months. So the public doesn't see all the benefit of that, but we do have more interaction with patients now where they can more easily get online, make appointments, see the results, talk to their providers. So that was successful.
The focus in the new fiscal year shifts back to facility efficiency and safety. Key projects include the replacement of nearly 50-year-old windows, as well as HVAC and air conditioning upgrades in inpatient rooms and stairways. Skowron points out that visitors will also notice ongoing renovations in the main entrance designed to improve wheelchair accessibility.
Now, the fiscal year 20, we call it fiscal year 27, but it starts May 1. That budget is more back to improvements to the facility, safety, efficiency, and back to making sure this slightly aged facility is as efficient as it can be. For example, new windows. And we haven't had new windows in 50 years. And so things like that need to be replaced. Making sure that all the different stairways and patient rooms have the most efficient air conditioning, HVAC services, and so forth. Those kind of things are, more back to the normal plant and maintenance upgrades. But in addition, when you walk into the main entrance right now, there is, when you register in the main entrance, there's a renovation going on so that it's more accessible for wheelchairs and just a refreshed look, new flooring and things like that. So there's a lot of different capital expenditures going on throughout the hospital to accentuate those things, as you know, that we've done with a new emergency room, with the specialty clinic, and to try and extract more efficiencies from those past expenditures.
Skowron notes that with 95% of the hospital's business now occurring on an outpatient basis, the new budget year prioritizes the efficiency of services like infusion therapy, 3D mammography, and imaging.
I talked about something simple like windows, but if your windows are 50 years old, you can bet that your electric costs, your utility costs will be lower if you replace the windows. But then there's safety issues, just little things like that really don't cost much, but the parking lot, the physician's parking lot has some cracks in it.
Mm.
If somebody, any person that lives in the neighborhood is walking through, not just our employees, and trips on that crack, there's a lawsuit. We just looked over the whole facility and said, what is it that we have been ignoring because we've been focusing on these IT and these larger projects? Let's get everything as efficient and safe as possible. We're also looking at some patient room improvement to try to increase the amount of private bathrooms within the inpatient. But we have to look more at outpatient. Inpatient is only 5% of our business. More and more, all services are being provided on an outpatient basis. So, our infusion therapy, try and market all of our 3D mammograms, all the imaging, the CTs, the MRIs, everything that we do on a regular basis, try and improve patient flow, make it the most efficient for the patient to come in, register, get their services, go home.
The city of Clinton approved the hospital's latest budget during the city council meeting on Tuesday, April 21st. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, the Lincoln Chief of Police highlights scam attempts. The Farmer City Council has approved its fiscal year 2026 budget. City Administrator Taylor Baxter explains the budget ensures essential services are covered as the city continues to grow and requires strategic management. The city has recently completed significant infrastructure work in water, wastewater, and street repairs, projects that will continue to require funding as they spill into the next budget cycle.
Really good, Seth. So last night, and this is what I do, and a lot of cities do this too, you kind of, as budget time approaches, you look at where we're currently at, what are some of the proposed things in next year's budget, but then also, okay, here are some key highlight things that we should consider and really hone in on some specifics. So some of it was pretty broad, but then some of it we really narrowed some things down. So as we looked at this year, there was a lot of significant infrastructure that we completed as far as investments go, and whether it's between water, wastewater, streets, those projects continue to happen, and they're going to kind of spill into next year's budget too. So went through that a little bit. We talked about some staffing and just some different pressures that are on the budget. So
Baxter notes that the budget planning involves a careful analysis of the city's financial landscape, balancing top-tier revenue streams against essential expenditures. The city also successfully passed a 1% municipal sales tax, which will help boost city funds, even as officials navigate various state-controlled and local funding pressures.
What I did for the council last night is I kind of went through our top 10 revenues, but then also our top 10 expenses. And we went through some different taxes and what they mean. So the property tax, municipal sales tax, the state income tax, all these different taxes, which we all hate, but they support cities. I mean, this is where our budget comes from. So some of them are state controlled, so meaning they're based just off of our population. And some of them are more specific to Farmer City. So like our sales tax or, the municipal sales tax, which we were able to pass as a city because of the new rules and regulations the state had. We were able to pass a 1% sales tax. So that's a new thing that we kind of talk through, some of our expenses we went through, just the different salaries, wages, electric generation, some different infrastructure projects that we have tied to specifically.
City officials are managing a wide variety of ongoing public works projects, including the Route 54 and Safe Route to School sidewalk projects, alongside extensive water and wastewater system improvements at both the plant and throughout local streets.
What we need to be mindful of is as we're growing, which we do have a lot of really good development happening, we have to be strategic on how we do that. So we talked through some of those things, just the different projects, like I said, that we have going on. Here's quickly, I'll go quickly. Here's the projects that we have currently going on. Route 54 sidewalk project, Safe Route to School sidewalk project, Plum 150 Street project, Washington Street water and wastewater projects, the I-74 projects. We have water system improvements at the plant and out in the streets. We have a wastewater system improvements that are going on at the plant and out in the street as well. I mean, that's just a handful, and there's more that we could touch on that we're not even really hitting on. Those are kind of the big ones right now.
Yeah. Farmer City is focusing on economic development in its TIF districts to remain competitive in a changing regional landscape. Additionally, the council is moving to assess the structural safety of City Hall, which has shown significant signs of decay, and is currently seeking engineering and architectural input to determine the path forward.
Quickly, we talked a lot about TIF and downtown economic development, the different strategies that we can use to try to really improve our TIF districts and make this a really cool place. And one of the things that we talked about last night too was just our community trend. You know, this is no secret. Our population is not increasing since the last census. And so we need to remain competitive because there are places around us that are gathering folks and people are moving to. And again, controlling what we can control to do that the best that we can. A lot of that goes into planning and being strategic with it. So one of the things we talked about was City Hall. And I know that's a thing in Clinton that has been ongoing and certainly here in Farmer City too. Our City Hall is not adequate with the space that we need, but also just the safety of it. If you look at the back end of our building, it is literally falling apart, and I'm not exaggerating. So we need to really figure out, and council kind of gave the consensus that we need to get an engineering and architects in here to figure out how bad this is, because then we can make a decision on the direction that we need to go. This is a historical building in Farmer City, and there's a lot of memories here. So we certainly want to be cognizant of that, but also we need to be realistic. And okay, if this is going to cost $4 million to fix, is that the wisest use of city funds to do?
Baxter feels there are several things that are in the process of being ready to get going, and it will soon feel like there will be several things going on all at once. Additionally, earlier this month, Baxter submitted his letter of resignation from the city of Farmer City. He will be staying on with the city until midsummer. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Spring is in the air, so it's time to choose your new Silverado. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. We have a good selection of new Silverados with springtime savings and special finance rates. Choose from regular cabs, double cabs, or crew cabs in gas or diesel. We're also allowing extra money for your trade on all new Silverados this month. Silverado, together let's drive. See all our inventory at bombchevybuick.com, right from the start.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
News time is 22 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Local law enforcement is issuing a new warning as the Lincoln Police Department reports an uptick in residents falling victim to various forms of scams. Lincoln Police Chief Joe Meister says the frequency of these incidents is concerning, noting phone-based deception is the most prevalent threat, often targeting the elderly.
I would say that the scams that we were talking about earlier.
Oh, sure, yeah.
We're seeing an increase in the amount of residents reporting that they believe they've been scammed. A lot of times it's over the phone. Typically, older folks are targeted during those scams. And what I would say about that is never give money to anybody that you don't know. legitimate organizations don't ask for funds through things like buying gift cards and sending them somewhere. Places like the Illinois Chiefs of Police Association, the Illinois Sheriff's Association, they don't solicit by phone ever. And then solicitors, we've seen an uptick in door-to-door solicitation. The city provides a list to all residents through the city website of what solicitors have been approved and licensed. So if you have a knock on the door and somebody says that they're from such and such company, you can get online and see if they're licensed. If they're not, you can report them to the police department and we can address the issue.
Chief Meister stresses legitimate organizations will never request payment through unconventional methods. One of the most common schemes involving scammers convincing victims that they owe a debt, then instructing them to purchase gift cards or green dot prepaid cards to resolve the balance.
A lot of the green dot card stuff. So they say that you owe a certain amount of money to an organization. They ask for the victim to go to a local retailer like Walgreens or Walmart or wherever it may be, purchase gift cards, and then send the gift cards to a certain location.
Okay.
Another one we see is folks will get a call and somebody will be portraying themselves as a distant relative and saying, I've been arrested. I need bond money. Send bond money wirelessly to this location.
Yeah.
What I'd say to that is simply Illinois is a no cash bail state. It doesn't take money to get out of jail. So if you get that call, you know it's bogus. Besides that, sometimes this time of year we see construction scams. So that's usually a door-to-door in-person thing. If you don't know who the company is, you can always get on Better Business Bureau and research that company, see if it's legitimate.
Sure.
There's all kinds of different avenues to do your own investigation.
The fraud extends beyond gift cards to include impersonation tactics. Scammers often pose as distant relatives, claiming they have been arrested and are in immediate need of bond money. Chief Meister reminds residents that Illinois is a no-cash bail state, making any call requesting bond money a red flag.
Another thing that we see really frequently with that is Amarin. Folks portraying themselves to be a member of Amarin, soliciting and trying to either sell different power sources or solar panels, things like that.
Okay.
Residents should know Amarin does not solicit door-to-door at all. So if you hear somebody say, hey, I'm from Amarin, would you be interested in this? You know they're bogus.
If you suspect you have been targeted, Chief Meister advises taking immediate action to report the incident, noting the department handles these cases with the same seriousness as any other crime. Plenty of corn and soybean producers across Illinois started rolling in late March, including Brent Corners in Jefferson County near Centralia in the southern third of the state.
Well, we kind of about had the same start as last year. Got out there early, putting on anhydrous and stuff for corn crop, and some guys, was poking beans in there right at the end of March, and putting some corn in also, and then they kind of held up a little bit, and I don't know, what was it, about maybe 2 weeks they held up, and then they got back going again here, about 2 weeks ago, and a lot went in 2 weeks ago. I'm talking, there's some guys in the area here that's totally done beans and corn in, waiting on their wheat to come out and double crop.
According to the latest USDA crop progress report, 29% of the state's corn crop has been planted, with 36% of the Illinois soybean crop in the ground. The trucking industry continues to manage high diesel prices. Don Schaefer is with the Springfield, Illinois-based Midwest Truckers Association.
Well, a company could do one of two things. They could set rates, or they could set a base rate and add a fuel surcharge. Most companies are going to set a base rate with a fuel surcharge to cover their costs. Now, it depends on also how you charge. Do you charge by the mile? Do you charge by the load in terms of a load of grain, do you charge by the bushel? Do you add a surcharge on that way? It's all different. And the thing about it is that you've got to be able to have a handle on that cost. If you're going to go in there and say, okay, my surcharge this week, here's my base rate. My base rate is so much, maybe so many dollars per mile. I'm going to add a surcharge based on the cost of fuel going up by a certain percentage. And thus, you're going to do that every week. You're going to come back and say, well, the rate's going to go up, 8% because fuel prices went up such a percent. And I'm going to do it that way. The next week, quite possibly, it's going to come down. And really, the smart operator is going to do that because, again, they live and die by the second largest expense that goes into that truck, and that's fuel.
Diesel prices are averaging $5.30 in Illinois compared to $5.17 a month ago and $3.55 a year ago. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. President Trump calls the blockade of Iranian ports genius and foolproof, insisting it will not end until Iran agrees to end its pursuit of nuclear weapons. Following a stormy appearance before a congressional committee yesterday, Secretary of War Hegseth goes back for more today. He'll make a return visit to Capitol Hill, this time testifying before a Senate committee. In a social media post, President Trump says he's considering cutting the number of U.S. troops in Germany. He's been upset with Germany and other NATO allies for refusing to lend a hand with the Iran war. Federal Reserve holding interest rates right where they are. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell citing the impact of the Iran war for the decision to hold the line. Wall Street Dow futures up 306 points. The Nasdaq futures better by 112 points. More details at srnnews.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Hi, my name's Neil. I have some advice for you if you've been trying to break free from credit card debt. You can start by doing what I did. Get your bills together and call Trinity Debt Management. Trinity is dedicated to helping people like me become debt-free. When I called, my first experience was a feeling of relief. My counselor was kind, and best of all, she didn't judge me. In just a few minutes, she helped me figure out a plan that consolidated all my bills into one lower monthly payment. This substantially reduced my high interest rates and put me on the road to success. In the end, I saved thousands in interest, and today my credit card debt is a thing of the past.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5496.
My name is Neil. Take it from someone who's been there. Call Trinity and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-936-5496.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Brock Wilson anchored a dominant pitching performance, leading Clinton to a 2-0 shutout victory over Tuscola on Wednesday afternoon in Central Illinois Conference High School baseball action in Tuscola. Wilson earned the win with 5 1/3 innings of scoreless ball, scattering 6 hits and striking out 4. Preston Curtis was perfect in relief, closing out the final inning in 2/3 without allowing a base runner to secure the clean sheet. The Maroons broke the scoreless tie in the top of the 5th inning. Jack Manning sparked the offense with a line drive single to center. Stone Stith reached on an error, allowing Fentress to cross the plate for the game's first run. Clinton added a vital insurance run later in the same frame. With 2 runners on, Josh Bass delivered a single to the shortstop, driving in Manning and extending the lead to 2-0. Bass, Manning, and Stith each recorded a hit, with Bass providing the lone RBI of the contest. With the win, Clinton improves to 14-8 overall. They return home Saturday to host Eureka at 11 a.m. Asher Premer was dominant on the bump, and Cam Schluter went deep as St. Joseph-Ogden blanked Monticello 7-0 in a much-anticipated showdown of 2 of Central Illinois' best on Wednesday in Illini Prairie Conference high school baseball action from Monticello. The loss on Wednesday ended 21 straight wins for the Sages to start the spring season. Schluter went deep to open the second inning and put the Spartans up 2-0. Prummer struck out 8 while walking 1 and allowing 6 hits in a complete game shutout. Coy Williams and Hayden Romano went 1 for 3 for the Sages, who fall to 21-1 overall. They will visit Rantoul on Thursday. Clinton could only muster 2 hits in a 7-0 loss to Tuscola in Central Illinois Conference High School softball action on Wednesday in Tuscola. Campbell Bass and Riley Fentress had the only hits of the afternoon for the Lady Maroons. The Lady Warriors jumped out to a 3-0 lead after the first inning and extended the advantage to 6-0 after the fifth. Clinton drops to 7-14 overall and 2-3 in the CIC. They host Warrensburg-Latham on Friday. Hear the action on WHOW and all its digital platforms. St. Joseph-Ogden outlasted Monticello 3-1 in an Illini Prairie Conference High School softball showdown Wednesday in Monticello. The Lady Spartans jumped out to a 3-0 lead after 4 innings. Thea Key drove in the only Lady Sages run in the fifth. Allie Widener was 2 for 3 with a double to lead Monticello's offense. The Lady Sages dropped to 18-6 overall. They visit Rantoul on Thursday. A 6-run explosion in the bottom of the 6th inning proved to be the difference as Tri-Valley pulled away late to defeat Heyworth 6-2 on Wednesday afternoon in non-conference high school baseball action in Downs. In a game that began as a classic pitcher's duel, both offenses were kept quiet through the first 5 frames. Tri-Valley finally broke the scoreless tie in the home half of the 6th, sending 10 batters to the plate. Caden Fiskus ignited the rally with a single, and after Grayson Coughlin was hit by a pitch, Caden Daner delivered an RBI single to put the Vikings on the board 1-0. Chase Hallworth then provided the biggest blow of the frame, a 2-run double to left that scored Daner and the courtesy runner Colton Boward. Tri-Valley then added 2 more on a bases-loaded walk by Ethan Moore and a late error to build a commanding 6-0 lead. The Hornets' Boston Cats hit a sharp grounder that resulted in a 2-base error, allowing 2 runners to score and cut the deficit to 6-2. Coughlin went 6 shutout innings, allowing just 4 hits while striking out 8 for Tri-Valley. Hallworth led the Vikings offense, finishing 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs, while Isaiah Alexander and Daner each added an RBI apiece. Cats took the hard luck loss for Heyworth despite a stellar start, racking up 9 strikeouts over 5 2/3 innings of work. Denning was the offensive standout for the Hornets, finishing a perfect 3 for 3 with 2 doubles. Heyworth falls to 6-10-2 overall and 3-5 in the Heart of Illinois Conference. They host Delavan on Thursday. Tri-Valley goes to 17-6 overall and 8-1 in the Heart of Illinois Conference. They could take on D-Mac on Friday. Drew Stevens homered and drove in 4 runs as Normal Community rolled to a 10-0 run rule win over Normal West in crosstown Big 12 high school baseball action on Wednesday afternoon at Normal Community High School. Stevens singled in a run in a 4-run third inning. A batter later, Beckett Weber made it 4-0 with a double that scored Stevens. In the 4th, Stevens' 3-run home run capped a 6-run frame to make it 10-0 Ironmen. Gavin Michaels drove in 2 with a double for Normal Community. Weber struck out 8 in 5 hitless innings. He permitted 2 walks and hit a batter. Normal West is 13-8 overall and 6-3 in the Big 12. Normal Community goes to 17-2 overall and 8-1 in the Big 12. The 2 crosstown rivals meet again on Friday at Normal West High School. Rookie Sam Antonacci hit a tying triple with 2 outs in the 9th inning, and Colson Montgomery had a winning single in the 10th, lifting the Chicago White Sox over the Los Angeles Angels 3-2 Wednesday for a 3-game sweep that extended LA's losing streak to 6 games.
For the third time in 6 tries during the homestand, the White Sox delivered some bonus baseball on Wednesday afternoon, and they did so because Sam Antonacci came through with a huge game-tying hit in the 9th.
The pitch. A swing and a base hit. That'll tie the game. Right field corner.
After Sir Anthony Dominguez shut down the Halos in the 10th, the Sox only needed 1 to win it, and Colson Montgomery came through when it mattered most.
Montgomery lines into center, drops down. Vargas on his way home. Ball game over.
Winners of 8 of their last 12, the White Sox now head west for a 3-game series in San Diego Friday night against the Padres. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage starting at 8 p.m. on the ESPN 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
The White Sox are back on WHOW tonight when they play the first of a 3-game series with the San Diego Padres. Pregame starts at 8 p.m. Rookie Nathan Church ended the game by robbing Nick Gonzalez of what would have been a walk-off 2-run homer by making a leaping catch at the left field wall, giving the St. Louis Cardinals a 5-4 win over the Pittsburgh Pirates on Wednesday night. Ryan O'Hearn singled with 1 out in the 9th off Riley O'Brien, and Marcell Ozuna struck out on 3 straight pitches. Gonzalez drove a first-pitch slider to left, and Church jumped caught the ball above the top of the 6-foot wall, 373 feet from the plate. Gonzalez's drive would have been a home run in 27 of 30 big league parks, according to MLB StatCast, all but PNC Park, Camden Yards, and Globe Life Field. O'Brien escaped with his 8th save in 10 chances as the Cardinals won their 3rd straight in a 4-game series that ends Thursday. Pittsburgh has lost a season-high 4 straight. The Pirates went 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position and stranded 11. Andre Palante allowed 1 run and 5 hits in a season-high 6 innings. Bubba Chandler gave up 3 runs, 3 hits, and 4 walks through 5 innings. J.J. Weatherholt hit a go-ahead RBI double in the 3rd, and Alec Burleson boosted the lead to 3-0 with a 2-run homer in the 5th. Spencer Horwitz cut the deficit when he homered in the bottom half, but Ivan Herrera and Jordan Walker boosted the lead to 5-1 in the 7th with RBI singles against Chris Davinsky. Davinsky's contract was selected from AAA Indianapolis, and the 35-year-old right-hander debuted for the Pirates, his 7th major league team. He was charged with 1 run in 2/3 of an inning. Pinch hitter Nick York had a 2-run single in the bottom half against Jojo Romero, and O'Neill Cruz grounded into a run-scoring force out in the 8th off George Soriano. Right-hander Hunter Dobbins, acquired from Boston in the Wilson Contreras trade in December, is slated to make his Cardinals debut on Thursday when Pittsburgh starts reigning NL Cy Young Award winner Paul Skeens. Pete Crow Armstrong hit his 3rd home run of the season and drove in 3 runs to lead the Chicago Cubs to a 5-4 win over the San Diego Padres on Wednesday. The Cubs have won 12 of their last 15 games. Crow Armstrong's homer was a 2-run shot down the right field line in the 4th to give the Cubs a 3-0 lead. Cubs starter Jamison Taylor did not allow a base runner through the first 4 2/3 innings. The Padres broke through on a solo homer to left field by Miguel Andujar, a walk by Jay Cronenworth, and a 2-run blast to left by Nick Castellanos to tie the game at 3-3 in the 5th. Taylor gave up 3 runs, 3 hits, and struck out 6 in 7 innings. Chicago reliever Hobie Milner earned his first save. Padres starter Matt Waldron pitched 5 innings, giving up 3 runs and 6 hits. Reliever Adrian Morgan gave up a run in 2/3 of an inning. Matt Shaw had a solo homer to left in the 8th to give the Cubs a 5-3 lead. The Padres had a prime chance in the 8th after Corbin Martin walked 3 straight batters to lead off the inning. Ben Brown came in and gave up a sac fly to Fernando Tatis Jr., and then induced Manny Machado into an inning-ending ground ball double play to preserve the Cubs' 5-4 lead. Padres manager Craig Stammen missed the game to attend a funeral, handing over the acting manager role to bench coach Randy Knorr. Stammen is expected to be back for the Padres against the Arizona Diamondbacks on Friday. The Cubs have yet to name a starter for the opener of their 3-game series home set against the Diamondbacks. And right-handed pitcher for San Diego, German Marquez, is slated to start for the Padres in the opener of a 3-game series against the Chicago White Sox on Friday night. In scores from around the MLB yesterday, the Cleveland Guardians beat the Tampa Bay Rays 3-1, while the Seattle Mariners